Hi there, I'm Ben, and this is my list of the 10 most exciting games coming to PS4 that were shown at E3 2019. Now this list is just games that were shown at E3 2019. They don't need to have been announced this year, just making an appearance in one of the press conferences is good enough. The idea of this list is to highlight the games coming to PS4 as Sony didn't have a press conference. Having said that, all but one of them are coming to other platforms too. These are the games I'm most looking forward to, so your list may be different. Please let me know in the comments which games you're most hyped for. Before we start, I've got a couple of honourable mentions. Now it wasn't specified which platforms these two games are being released on, but they looked interesting enough for me to want to include them. First is Deathloop. There was just a teaser trailer for this one. It seems like a time-travelling, repeating day type of affair with two assassins living the same day over and over and trying to kill each other. It seems like a cross between Looper and Edge of Tomorrow. Definitely looks interesting. Next is Ghostwire Tokyo. Again, just a teaser for this one. All I know about this one is that it's a horror game where the population are just disappearing while leaving their clothes behind. So somewhere there are a load of butt-naked Japanese people running around. It looks very mysterious. Or it could just be a game about Tokyo during the Thanos finger snap. Who knows? Right, so first up is a Star Wars game, but not this one. At this point I'm done with EA. After being stung for the final time by Anthem, I've gone past the point of caring what they release. I won't be handing any more money over to them. I know Anthem wasn't fully their fault, but they were still the publishers. They surely knew the game was a mess, but they still went ahead with releasing it. Even if Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is great, I still won't be compelled to buy it. All trust is gone. It will be like a thief stealing your wallet, then buying you a cake with your money to apologise. Just get the hell out of here. Anyway, my real number 10 is LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. I really love the LEGO games, it's just the simplicity of their storytelling. Most of the time it's done completely without dialogue and it's hilarious. This new game, Skywalker Saga, will contain all 9 of the main Star Wars films in one neat little package, and I can't wait to experience their interpretation of the trilogy of trilogies. Yeah, I think that's the thing. Plus, Traveller's Tales are homegrown talent with their headquarters being not far from me, so I have to show them some love. Number 9 is Final Fantasy VII Remake. Now I'm excited for this game, but probably not for the same reasons as you. I've never played a Final Fantasy game before, and up until recently I had never played a Soulsborne game before. Having now completed both Bloodborne and Sekiro, the whole series of games have now become my favourite. I'm hoping that this can happen with Final Fantasy too. I know the series has a massive fan base and that they are very passionate about the games, so I must be missing out on something great here. I have heard some people in the past say that Final Fantasy VII is their favourite game of all time, while some say number 6 is their favourite and some say number 10. Oh, I don't know, it's all very complicated and this is the problem. Because I never got on board at the start, I just don't know where to jump in. And that's where this remake comes in. It looks like the perfect place to start. Unfortunately, because of people extensively covering this game in list videos etc, I do know what happens at the end, but I'm not going to let that put me off. Number 8 is Borderlands 3. Now I am excited for Borderlands 3, but weirdly it's kind of a muted excitement. I really enjoy the series, but I'm not really sure it can go anywhere. At best, I think it will be as good as Borderlands 2, which is great, but I don't think it can get better. As we all know, Borderlands is a looter shooter, one of the originators of the genre really, and probably still the best, in my opinion anyway. With more modern ones, it seems that the emphasis is on the loot and playing with friends. What separates Borderlands from the rest is that they are still excellent games when played by yourself. The dialogue is very funny, the characters are very well done, and there's usually a pretty interesting story. Speaking of the story, for those that own the Handsome Collection, which is everybody as it was part of PlayStation Plus and Xbox Game Pass, there is currently a free DLC being offered called Commander Lilith and the Fight for Sanctuary for Borderlands 2. The DLC actually sets up the story for the 3rd game, so definitely worth a look I think. It's only free until July 8th 2019, so go and download it now. It's definitely awesome that the devs did this, it's much appreciated and sets a good precedence. Number 7 is Wolfenstein Youngblood. So the guys behind the rebooted Wolfenstein games, Machine Games, said they wanted to do something a little bit different with Youngblood and change up the formula a bit. It's a drop-in, drop-out, co-op, non-linear first-person shooter set in the 80s where you play as Blazkowicz's teenage twin daughters Jess and Soph. I'd say that is different enough for sure. Machine Games had a bit of help with this game. Arcane Studios also had a hand in the development of Youngblood. I'm guessing that they helped out with the creation of the open world, as they are famed for creating the Dishonored series, and the world and the cities that they've created there are exceptional. I love the first game in this rebooted franchise, but sadly I haven't played the second one because of the notoriously difficult Platinum Trophy, so I'm definitely excited to give this one a try and get back into some fast-paced Nazi killing action. Number 6 is Marvel's Avengers. I mean, it's Avengers, what more do you want? You get to play as the iconic superheroes. Now this was a very early look at the game, as it isn't being released for another year, which is probably a good thing for anyone who's suffering from superhero fatigue. What Crystal Dynamics have promised though is that it's a story-driven adventure, which is an all-new one by the way. The game does not follow the films, which is why the characters don't look like their silver screen counterparts. It's going to be 4-player co-op if you're into that sort of thing. There are going to be free updates and DLCs that include new regions and characters. Hopefully that does mean that there is a full game at release and that it's not just going to be drip-fed to us, but I don't see why they'd do that. One thing that they did feel the need to mention on stage was that there aren't going to be pay-to-win scenarios or loot boxes. That's great and all, but it's a sad state of affairs when that sort of information is a selling point. Anyway, this looks like a lot of fun and I'm sure we'll see more of it in the near future. Number 5 is The Outer Worlds. On the surface of it, there doesn't seem like there's much to get excited about with The Outer Worlds. It's a new IP, so we don't know much about the world or any of the characters. At first glance, it may just look like another shooter that's set in the future. In fact, that's exactly what I thought when I first saw the game. It looked like Borderlands or a Rage clone. Don't let that fool you though. When you watch the trailer, you'll notice that something seems oddly familiar. That's because this game is being developed by Obsidian Entertainment, the guys behind the last truly great Fallout game, Fallout New Vegas. They're also responsible for the fantastically funny South Park The Stick of Truth. Just knowing that makes me excited for this game already. In The Outer Worlds, you create your own character, not just in the traditional sense, but in the way you act around the NPCs. Like the trailer says, you can be a villain, a hero, or a psychopath. Not only that, but you'll also have to craft your own team by recruiting people you meet on your travels. They will have their own specializations, so you'll want to choose wisely which members of your crew you'll want to take with you on certain missions, as you can only have 2 companions at a time. When playing, you'll also have to make decisions that will affect the story and the world around you. So what we have here is a game that is potentially a cross between Fallout New Vegas and Mass Effect, where your choices truly shape the world around you. Sign me up. Number 4 is Doom Eternal. Both a new Wolfenstein and Doom game in the same year, that's just overkill. Much like the gameplay of both games actually. I've been a fan of Doom since the start. Not only did I love playing the games with my dad, but we also created our own maps. I remember doing that more than playing actually. The reboot of Doom in 2016 was just perfect, and it was just what the stale first-person shooter genre needed, to go back to what made the genre so popular in the first place. The quick-paced, ultra-violent, non-stop action is just addictive. Not only that, it felt like old Doom too, with the floaty, unrealistic controls where you just glide around the levels. Sometimes focusing on realism just isn't needed. Sometimes I just want to blow things up and tear demons apart and feel like a badass. Doom Eternal is going to allow me to do that all over again, and that's all I need it to do. Number 3 is Watch Dogs Legion. This will be the first entry of the Watch Dogs series that I play. I don't think I can put it off any longer. This game looks fantastic. The gimmick here is that you can recruit and play as anyone that you meet on the streets. They all have backstories and special abilities that may come in handy to help your cause. The scope of doing something like this is ridiculous. There are so many NPCs on the streets as you walk around. Ubisoft have mentioned several times that when they say everyone, they mean everyone can be recruited. Interestingly, it seems that there's a permadeath system too. Once an operative dies, that's it, they're gone. In the gameplay demo, they show one of the characters die, and they also show that the other characters also remarked on the person's death as well. It just became part of the story. Very impressive. What's also very impressive is the fighting style that they showed off during the gameplay demo. It's hand-to-hand combat with the use of guns in between punches. Very cool looking. I can't wait to see if they pull this game off. I really hope they do. With the quality of games Ubisoft have released lately, I think they can. At number 2, I have Elden Ring. I would have this at number 1 had there been more information on it, but it's just a teaser trailer with no release date. If you don't know already, Elden Ring is a collaboration between From Software and George R.R. Martin. I believe he's an author or something. He wrote a series called A Song of Ice and Fire. I don't think it really took off though. Now I believe Martin was more of a consultant. He kind of laid the groundwork, and then Miyazaki and the team at From Software built upon that. The guys at FromSoft are extremely good at world building and creating lore. So I hope that people who are only interested in the game because they've seen that George is attached to the project don't give him all the credit when it comes to the writing. This game is going to be From Software trying their hand at an open world game, and it's going to take its inspiration from Norse mythology, I believe. I wouldn't expect to see Kratos show up though. I'll be interested to see how they handle the open world aspect of things, but to be honest, what attracts me to their games is that they aren't. There will still be boss fights and a steep difficulty, which is great news. They haven't given in to the people pressuring them for an easy mode yet then. I'll be following this one very closely indeed, but I wouldn't expect to see it until next year. Number 1 of course is Just Dance. No, of course not, it's Cyberpunk 2077. Now if you don't know about Cyberpunk 2077, where the hell have you been? This game has all the ingredients to become the best game of this console generation. It's a deeply customizable RPG. It's being developed by CD Projekt Red, the guys who brought us the Witcher series, and it's going to star Keanu Reeves, one of the coolest, nicest guys on the planet. I can't believe he actually turned up to E3 to promote this game. There isn't much I can say about Cyberpunk 2077 that you probably don't already know. It's adapted from a tabletop game from the 80s, maybe you didn't know that. Anyway, it's an open world, it's set in the future obviously, and body modifications or augmentations are the norm. Everybody seems to have them. Most importantly, the main character that you play as, V, has them, and they're fully customizable. I must say that the extended arm blades that were seen in the trailer are really cool. They make him look like a cybernetic necromorph. I can't wait to see what this game has to offer. If the world is anywhere as deep as the one from The Witcher 3, then we're going to be playing this game for years to come. Right, that was my list. Like I mentioned at the start, this list was my opinion. What are your most anticipated games from E3 2019? Please comment below and let me know. While you're down there, please like and subscribe, maybe even share, you'd be helping me out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.